Hello, everyone. I'm Charlie, and welcome back to another DraftKings DFS slate breakdown. Four-game slate we've got here with Man United as the biggest favorites at minus 280. Isn't that crazy to think about? After they had that really good game against Arsenal, like super competitive, looked okay against Fulham, and then they were just kind of just awful against Grimsby, where they were like minus 2,500, which is crazy to think about, and just looked absolutely lost at times. Now the whole kind of perception of them has changed. And I'm not super confident with them against Burnley. I think minus 300 feels kind of a little generous to them, to say the least. But bookmakers still like them to bounce back here. I think they probably have to. If Amarim kind of I think Amarim's kind of in a dangerous spot here. Like I'm not sure they keep him if they don't win this game because I watched his post match comments too. There's not a ton of confidence there with them right now. But yeah, odds makers do think they bounce back. Tottenham at minus odds as well here. And then Wolves and Everton, basically a toss up. Everton currently slightly favored right now, but I've seen that line move around a bunch. I think Wolves were favored maybe yesterday or a couple days ago. So basically it's a coin flip match, essentially. And then Sunderland and Brentford. Brentford's slight favorites on the road there. Let's get into our anytime goal contribution odds. Actually, Tottenham in pretty good spots here. They are minus favorites. The goal total is pretty high for that game as well. So it makes sense to see a bunch of guys on minus odds there. For Man United, look at them. Like they really think Man United get the job done here. Cunha minus 175 anytime goal contribution. That's high to say the least. But like he's probably looked their best player, the most dangerous player. So it makes some sense there. And I will talk about him a little bit more when we get into the pricing here. And then Bruno, Sesko, Buemo, all minus odds as well. And then Everton and Wolves, as well as Sunderland and Brentford. Kind of everyone's around plus 100 there. They think these games should be a lot more even. Goal totals a lot lower. So, of course, the goal contribution odds correlate with that for these games. Let's now go into our projected lineups and potential set pieces. For Wolves, it should be John Arias and David Muller-Wolfe. Arias went 90 the first time midweek, which is encouraging to see, considering he went like 55 last week, and I really loved him. He was a little bit unfortunate to kind of be the sacrificial lamb for after Wolves got that red. He was the guy who was subbed off for an additional center back. That was sad to see. And then Wolfe, I'm kind of waiting to see a little bit more from him. He's been a little bit sub dangerous recently. He's been subbed like 55, 70 minutes every game so far. He is in that 8 Norway role. He's taking some set pieces, getting super far forward in that wingback role. So he's going to be so tempting. Another guy we'll talk about when we go into pricing. And then Everton just should be Dewsbury Hall and James Garner. Sad to see Jack Grealish not really take anything. He'd be so fun as a DFS player if he did. He's kind of just a goal contribution dependent attacker, which is sad because like he was so good at Aston Villa when he had set pieces. He'd be super attacking. But he's not going to be a bad option on this play either. Man United and Burnley here. It should be an Mbeumo and Bruno split that is pretty concrete. If maybe we see like, I don't know, Bruno further forward and Mbeumo on the bench or something, maybe Amad Diallo takes some sets here and there. But I imagine it will just be Mbeumo and Bruno. It's a pretty standard split there. They each kind of take a side. Maybe Bruno gets slightly more open play free kicks, but then that's kind of debatable. Then for Burnley, it should be Josh Cullen and Hartman. Sunderland should be Xhaka and Trey Hume. One guy to watch out for is Enzo Lefy. He took almost everything midweek. So just watch if he plays. And then for Brentford, it should be mostly Damsgaard. There's a chance that Henderson takes something here and there. Also, Matthias Jensen could take something if he's in. But Damsgaard is kind of like the lion's share kind of set piece guy in this team, especially with Mbeumo gone. So like that's what I think they do there. Tottenham should be mostly, oh no, just maybe Kudus and Porto splitting. I like this completely forgot what I was saying for a second there. However, like Xavi Simons could be on its way there. Like I could kill our poor Porto sets, but for now, Porto should still take something. And for Bournemouth, it should be Brooks and Scott in this lineup. Tavernier takes some stuff here and there, but most of his corners and stuff come from when Brooks gets subbed. So don't be fooled by if you see Tavernier having a corner or two at some point in this game. Now let's go into the pricing here. Look at Mateus Cunha, 11,800. That is a ton for a guy who likely doesn't have any set pieces. but he's just been getting there. 12 floor and 9 floor back to back, almost purely in shots and shot on goals. And those are like tougher matches in Burnley too. So I think he's going to be kind of tempting. I think he'll be pretty popular too, just because of that like 11-point average is solid for the Man United guys. Richarlison 11,400. He's just been crazy. I just don't think sustainable. He's going to be splitting time with Solanke still. Like he goes 70 minutes max. I'd say 78 he got against City, which was I think a little surprising. I just don't think he can sustain it. And he's expensive at 11,400. He's probably a decent GPP option, but for cash formats, I'd stay away from that. Semenyo at 10K. I loved him last week. He didn't do us wrong really at 15 points. Now tougher matchup. He's still an all right GPP option because that Tottenham game could end up pretty open, but just not a guy I'd go to in cash. Diallo at 9,400 feels a little bit pricey for me. Dwight McNeil at 8,400 if he starts, that could be kind of tempting. He just seems out of favor right now. Just doesn't play in the main team. Trent Larson, I don't know if he'll play. He might be going to Newcastle. We'll see how that develops. Yeah, there's an update right there from DraftKings. He's also a little bit pricey. I said that last week too, and he dropped like what 1 point. Like I maintain that stance. He's only dropped 400. Everton is like a pretty solidly defensive side, so he's just wildly overpriced as well. Justin Kluivert's 500 coming back from injury. If he starts, there's a chance he's on set pieces. Another guy who I'm kind of waiting to see on, frankly. Tesco 7,100. I think this could be a pretty popular play. We saw how good those Man United goal contribution odds were. Minus 125 for him right now, according to the books. And at 7K, like he's not like an expensive option at all. He's probably one of the cheaper Man United, or not the cheapest Man United attacker we're going to get here. So like I could see that being a pretty popular play. After that, there's like Jaden Anthony, who was really good last game. Like I thought that 11 was not going to be sustainable at all. He still did like what 6-7 floor plus 2 goal contributions. Awesome performance there. They are playing Man United though, who are the favorites technically, are huge favorites, but you can make an argument for it, Jaden Anthony, honestly, like this, just off of how vulnerable Man United looked last game in midweek. Other guys here, I never mind like a Dango Watara, 5,800. I had him in my cash team last week. Didn't do me wrong. I think he's going to be a super important signing for them. He kind of is playing in that Mbuemo role. Sucks he doesn't have set pieces, but he looked really good. Like Brentford, I worried for a little bit, but now that they got Damsgaard starting, Dango into the team, like I'm not as worried for them as I quite was after week 1. Thiago 5,100. I really like this as a play. I think he's a sneaky little option. Kind of the heir to the Ivan Toney, was injured almost all of last season, but he's looked good so far. He's just a big, strong striker. He's pretty solid for minutes, which you love to see. Scored midweek as well. Like Igor Thiago, like I'm kind of excited by him. This is an intriguing option in my eyes. Dom Solanke, if he starts, that'd be just an absolute steal at 4,900. But it just seems like a Richarlison speed now to spot. Adingra, I don't think that's a bad bargain option as well. Haven't really shown his best stuff so far, but Sunderland at home, like against Brentford, it's not a bad spot. So like I could see myself getting a bunch of shares of him as well. And after that, kind of whatever on the rest of these guys. Marcus Edwards, I know you're talking about every week, and like he never gets priced up. So like it's like a punt striker. I'm fine with it. It's like a Lyle Foster, but those are kind of more GPP flyers in my eyes, and you kind of just safe single entry cash double up teams. Now mids, look at how expensive all these mini guys are. We already talked about Cunha, and now we got Bruno, Mbuemo, both north of 10K here. Mbuemo up to 11. This feels a little bit pricey. Bruno is continuing to play in this deeper role too, which kind of hurts them as a team. And I think definitely also hurts his prospects as a DFS player. Like he's still solid. Like he still get to 10 floor likely, but it kind of hamstrings him in goal contributions a little bit. Like his assist against Grimsby Town was just off of a corner, which you can get from any set piece taker. From open play, he hasn't done anything yet this season so far. And I just don't think he's like a 20.4 game. Like you kind of saw me in like a monopoly. Now he's splitting with Mbuemo. Like I don't think Bruno's a lock here by any means, where I would have said he was a stone cold, just you have to play him in the past. Now I think it's a lot more debatable. That's also, I think Sesko is such a good option, 7K, because he's so much cheaper than these super expensive Man United guys. Tavernier, he was super chalky last game. Got there with that goal. He would have 4 points otherwise. Like I'm still gonna continue fading options like this. Like I don't want a 9K setless attacker, especially when he's playing kind of this central mid role. Like he's not the same Tavernier that was wing on a wing, taking a ton of set pieces. Like I think he's a bad play, Tavernier. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on him. I hope he ends up choppy with his logs. Kudos at 8,300. I love Mohamed Kudos. He was always just kind of a guy who just got there for West Ham. Now he's on set pieces for Tottenham, which is just a much better spot. I know he wasn't crazy against Man City. If anything, you can say he's kind of poor, but they're playing Bournemouth now. Like Bournemouth are going to be open. I think at times they lost their whole back four almost in the transfer window. Like this is not a straight back four. I like Trufert. He's probably probably the guy that thinks okay. He is on Kudus' side, which I worry about a little bit. But still, like I think it's a really good spot for Kudus. This minute is going to be so stacked here. There's going to be a ton of options that we continue to talk about as we go down the board here. But yeah, I never mind a Kudus play whatsoever. Grealish is 7K. Sure, I don't mind that. Play more GPP. The David Brooks 7,800. He's a little bit pricey for me. Bellegarde, if there's no Arias, should have a share of sets in that scenario. But otherwise, I'd say away. Lefty 5,700. Probably a little bit pricey, just slightly out of what I'd like him to be. If he's like a 5K option, I'd be a lot more tempted. There's going to be plenty of really good 5K options that we're going to talk about as we go down. James Garner for 900. He's not one of them that I like too much here. I know he got that goal last game, but he's just like center mid essentially. They're not going to dominate Wolves. Like um, you'd hope for like your kind of set piece dependent player because he's just not going to get enough sets. I think to get there. I just don't see him getting too many more goal contributions like last game. Where are the guys I want to talk about? First one is right here. John Arias. I missed him. But I'm happy to go back to the well. Everton are a team that will sit back at times. Like Wolves need to get going here. They're starting 0-2. This is kind of their first probably true winnable game of the season. You could argue Bournemouth maybe, but they got a red card early on too, so it's just like whatever. But Everton at home. This is a game you have to win. Wolves, I think, are a relegation candidate this season. Especially if they lose Strand Larson too. Like I think there's serious worries for their safety here. And so Arias really needs to step up here. And I could genuinely see him stepping into that Cunha role. I think I said that last week too, but he's gotten a week or two to kind of acclimate now. And I love John Arias, like I talked about. So he's been priced up 300, better matchup now at home. Like I'm very tempted by John Arias here. He might even be a poor play for me. We'll just see how I organize that after going through prices here. And then the next really cheap mid that I really like, Dewsbury Hall, another guy who I've been liking every game. Look at that, identical scores the first two, 8.5. That's paid off price right there both times. And those are two, I think, tougher matchups for Everton in terms of possession. Like Brighton and Leeds, both possession teams, kind of suffer a lot. Everton, and now that they're playing Wolves, I think it'll be a little more end to end, a little more even. And like continuing to be too cheap is Dewsbury Hall, so I love that. But you see what the issue is. There's like really 4 or 5 already really good mids we've talked through here, and you can't play them all. And then after that, the last guy, there's one more mid I wanted to talk about. Who was it? Dewsbury Hall, Arias. I'm missing somebody. Wasn't Shock. I saw Shock at 3,900. I mean, sure, whatever. Like I don't mind him. He's just kind of raw set pieces, but there will be better options on a slate like this. Damsgaard, yes, that was the guy I completely missed. I love Mikel Damsgaard. I had him this game. He had an assist chalked off, which was unfortunate for me. But without Mbuemo, he's just kind of stepping into kind of being this team's talisman. Like they don't have a ton of other help. He's kind of their best player they got right now. And like a Monaco set pieces probably, like I said, Sunderland. If Sunderland go up early, this could be like a Brentford domination kind of scenario here, which can really see Damsgaard new. He's pretty safe for minutes typically. So like Mikel Damsgaard at 5K is just way too cheap of a price here. And he might be my favorite mid of all of those even cheaper guys that I love too. And then there's like Alex Scott here, Stone 3K. I don't think that's a crazy play. He got there last game. And then nothing else I'm too interested. Jensen is if Jensen is in there and there's no Damsgaard, I think that could be an all right option. I had him that first game when Damsgaard didn't play against Forest at like a 6-pointer, which again you'd say would pay off that 3K price tag. Oh, and then Netsi, I think is not a bad little GPP option. They play him like almost as a pseudo striker at times. He kind of reminds me of like a Thomas Socek type Marwan Fellaini, who you just throw into the box, cross, hope for headers, which can work sometimes. Like he's super solid for minutes too, and like he's going to score one of these games eventually just for being super high up the pitch and then having no other guy to put the ball in the back of the net besides him, especially if they have this lineup without Strand Larson in it. All right, that was mids. I spent a ton of time on there. There's a ton of really good options I like. Defender, there's some guys, but definitely not as many. Pedro Porro, who is the lock defender on the slate. I say that every time I feel like I'm going to continue to enjoy him while we have his set pieces before they bring in Xavi Simons, who I think we'll almost certainly take. But Tottenham looks solid defensively. He's got those 6 points and clean sheets over the last 2 games, which is super nice to see. I don't know if he can do anything crazy against Man City, but they were playing Man City. They were up a goal super early. So like he kind of has had terrible flow. 2 games in a row actually, because they went up early against Burnley too. And Burnley kind of were competitive for a lot of that game. So you didn't see that good flow for Pedro Porro. Against Bournemouth. Like if Bournemouth go up early, say, like Porro could just absolutely nuke you. You could have like a 20 cross game, wouldn't surprise me at all. Tottenham are a little bit flow dependent at times, which is the worry. But like if his bad games are 10, 13 points, you take that, especially considering he's been 1K cheaper than he was against Burnley a couple weeks ago. So yeah, love Pedro Porro here. Patrick Dorgu, I think this is an interesting option. He got subbed at halftime midweek, which I don't think was any fault to his own. I think he was one of the better players in that first half. Like it wasn't his fault they were down 2 goals at halftime. But I know he wasn't that good against Fulham. He was much better against Arsenal. They're playing Burnley. Like Burnley are going to bunker. I think they'd like their chances of just beating Man United on the counterattack, kind of like Grimsby did. And I know 6K is a little bit of a pricey tag on him, but this is kind of one of your cheaper exposures to Man United if you think about it that way. Like he's half the price of your Mbuemos and Cunhas. And I know, of course, he's not going to get goal contributions as much, but he's been solid for minutes in the league. And I could definitely see him having a decent floor game against Burnley. And I think you maybe get to this over like Acuna just to say, I'm going to get to Man exposure this way, but I'm not completely going to be screwed if they win like 5-0, hopefully. Unless there's like Acuna scores 4 goals and you fade him, then that's a tough sight. But I think there is just alternative ways you can get to Man United through these cheaper pieces like Dorgu, like Sesko. And that's why that's the case for Patrick Dorgu. Trey Human 5,800, I don't think is a bad option as well. Been super solid. Just gotten the 2 games in a row. Like I have nothing really bad to say about him. Could maybe I argue 5,800 is a little bit pricey, but like he's been solid. Like you take that even after 6K price tag, the 9-10 points. Hartman, I loved him last week. I played him week before. He's been, I think, okay both times. I don't think he was that good last game. I'm getting the rolling loading circle of death. So I guess we can't look too deeply at Hartman. But yeah, he's been okay. 8.5 average score, as you can see there, which you absolutely take. However, he has been priced up a little bit, and they are playing Man United, where they're just not going to have the ball that much, even if they win. Like I think that's a little bit worrying. So like while I love Hartman as a player, this is probably just not the slate for him. Like he's not in a better spot than Trey Hume, than Dorgu, than Porro. So even though he's a guy that I love playing, I think this could be a time to get off of him. Other guys down here, Trufford's been super solid. Like he got there against Liverpool, so you could definitely see him getting there against Tottenham. I think he's a bad option. Now Muller Wolfie, I'll talk about it a little bit here. At 3.5 point average score is not looking great, you'd argue. However, like I believe in this Wolf system. Like I think he could be as good as Aït-Nouri. Maybe not yet, but let him acclimate a little bit more into this Wolves team. He's got a better matchup than he's had the last couple games. And I think it could be a really good bounce back for him. And 3,700 is just a real nice kind of bargain option for you to get to your more expensive Man United guys, more expensive Tottenham guys. It's like Muller Wolfie is a guy that I will happily take a chance on, even though he hasn't kind of shown the scores they really like. But I believe in the role of just a set piece taking wing back at home. Like that's a guy I'd happily take a chance on for sure. Any other defenders I think are all right here? Not really. Those are kind of like the main 4 or 5 names I want to talk about here. Everything else I think is just center back punts where you kind of just have to try to just correlate with the game scenario. Try to play for a center back goal off of a set piece like an Estev from because there's corner taker Josh Cullen or Hartman. Have that in like a GPP build. Don't go overboat on center backs ever. And then goalkeepers here, as always, it is an absolute crapshoot. Look at this spinning circle. I just can't get it. I'm just gonna go with the flow and ignore it. Bandier, 6K, most expensive keeper on the slate here. I think odds are pretty favorable, whether that be their odds of winning, both teams to score odds, I think are really low as well. So there's argument for him. However, I'm never too fussed about goalkeeper. I'll kind of have a bunch of all these guys. I end up pretty kind of spread on my goalkeeper ownerships in GPP even as well, where I just kind of play whoever fits the build, whether that be like a game stack. Maybe I'm stacking a Man United. I'm doing a Man United stack build, Bane Deer, and then there's a bunch of their attackers, and have that like hoping for a 4-0 Man United win. But I still have a bunch of the other keepers as well, just kind of whoever fitting the game script and just whoever fitting just in terms of how much price I have left over. Like I much rather prioritize my mid forward defender slots over goalkeeper, especially in cash. Like you just kind of be fine with whoever you land on, which is what I think is the best way to kind of do it. But yeah, guys, that'll be it. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.